Hello everyone, it's Joel and Sebastian with the EV Geek Podcast, and today we're excited to bring to you another EV car review. Today we have the 2024 Kia EV6 GT line. It is the all-wheel drive, I believe. Yes, it's the all-wheel drive, which is a long-range model. So this is, what's the color on this one again?
Yacht blue.
Yacht blue, and it really look, and you may not be able to see it on the camera, but it looks really good. So Sebastian, what are you interested in learning about this car today?
So you own one of these.
I own
So you have a pretty good idea of how it all works.
Yes, I have a cheat sheet on this. So yes, I own a 2022. It's the rear-wheel drive. So it's not as nice as this, but tech-wise and interior features, kind of the same. So yeah.
So yeah, I'm just super excited. You know, I haven't had a lot of time in the EGMP stuff yet, and so it's super cool. We had to take it and put some juice in the battery, but when we got it, it was at like 15-20%, and so we threw it on. We just threw it on a 125 kilowatt charger, but the fact that, I mean, it went right up to it and just held it, you know, the whole time.
The max charging on that station was 125, and it went for like 114, 115 right away. Yeah. We put like 10% in, 50% in like 8 minutes, so we were good to go. So yeah.
Which, I mean, and it'll do even faster than that. It's like 230 peak is what, and it will ride that pretty deep.
It will ride that 50% and above, and then after that I think it starts slowing down, but not much.
So yeah, so I'm just super excited. You know, like you said, this is the all-wheel drive, so the all-wheel drive's got a pretty decent amount of get up and go. Yep. I'm excited. You know, it's a GT line, so it's got the nice seats, it's got all the smart features, all the tech stuff. So I'm just super excited to kind of see what Kia and Hyundai's, you know, flagship. I use that loosely because now there's the EV9, and I think they'd rather that be the flagship. Yep. But yeah, I'm just excited to see kind of what their flagship tech is currently. So
yeah, so huge shout out to Crane Kia of Sherwood. They have a lot of EVs in stock right now, so if you're looking for an EV, check them out. We're also going to be able to get an EV9 from them here shortly to do a review on that. But we're going to switch things up. We're going to do a little quick tour around the car, then we're going to get back in, and I'm going to let Sebastian play with the tech because I already know about it. So give him a little learning curve on that, and we'll see you in a second.
All right, so before we do anything on the exterior, I've seen everyone try this before and I've never done it. We are gonna try out Smart Park. So if you look at the key here, you'll see you've got a forward and back button and then a remote start. So I believe all you have to do to do it is we're gonna lock it, which by the way, it's like a freaking fighter jet.
Yeah, it's like a grenade, yep.
Lock it, hold. It blinked, I heard it come on. And now, coming around. Uh-oh, I might not know what I'm doing.
There we go.
There we go. Walking the dog. It locked up the brakes there.
Locked up the brakes. There we go. We're walking the Kia.
All right, cool. So it does work. I just had to figure out how to do it. Golly, it really locks up the brakes though when it stops. All right, so cool. Now we know Smart Park does work.
Yes.
How do you stop it?
There we go.
Like that.
All right.
Cool.
Now I'm gonna pass it off to Sebastian. We're gonna talk about a little bit about the outside of the car. So. All right, so like we said, 2024 EV6 GT line, all-wheel drive. It's got the 20-inch tires. It has the 77.4 kilowatt-hour battery, single electric motor, onboard power generator, DC fast charging. Remember, this is the 800-volt system, so this thing will fly, as Sebastian said in the intro, on DC fast charging. You're going to see 230, 240 peaks, and that's going to hold it way into the pack. I think the last time I charged my Kia, I was still getting around 130, 120 at 70-80%. So fast charging, this is meant for if you're going to go on long distance trips, perfect car to take on it. So we're going to kind of go around and do a tour. Remember, yacht blue is the color. One thing we liked about it too is when you lock it, the mirrors automatically fold in. So really cool feature. You don't have to worry about that.
And the door handles auto present.
And the door panels. I believe that's only on the GT line. That does not do that on my line, or that's new for the 2024. The 2022 does not do that. But outside wise, they basically haven't changed much. I think they did a little bit different to the front headlights. As you can see, this one still has some stickers on the front headlights, I believe. It does.
Oh, that's not just part of a design.
Nope. So we're gonna leave it on because this is not our car. So yeah, front grille is awesome. Come over here, as you see, it keeps doing that. I love the tires on these cars, actually. They have really nice tires. And actually, my first set of Continentals lasted me almost 40,000 miles on my car. So you have your charging port back here.
Oh yeah, it's locked.
You got to lock it, so unlock, now we can use it. So the newer models come with a light on the inside. The other ones didn't have it. You have a hold button. You have a button here to open up and shut the door if you need to. Once again, we have our lovely adapter that Sebastian loves.
I like that
adapter
you get
cover.
the charge point.
So it tells you, yeah, so 25, 50, 7500 something. And it blinks up while you're charging. So we can shut that. Looking at the back, you do have the rear camera. This is the GT line, like we said. Let's go ahead and open up the trunk.
No, it just locked.
I just locked on us again.
So it's a Hyundai Kia thing. They automatically lock if you don't touch them after like 45 seconds.
Which is a good safety feature. So we have our mats back here. So you have your trunk mat, you have your floor mats. This is nice here. So you can cover that up if you need to, or if you don't want to, you can do that.
You get any underfloor on these?
Very small. There's probably a tire mobility kit underneath here, yes.
Boom, right on the money.
Yep. You have the tire mobility kit, and you have a...
Is that your V2L?
This is your V2L, so yeah. So Hyundai Kias do vehicle to load. So what happens is we can demonstrate what this does, in case you've never seen it before. First, you gotta take the cover off. So this part back here has, if I remember how to take this off without breaking it. So as you can see, you put a extension cord in here, or a coffee maker, or a toaster, or something like that, and you close it up. And then what you can do then is this part goes into here, and now you can power your home or power whatever you need to do at your house. So camping or anything like that, you need to power something, it will do that as well. So all the vehicles come standard with this, the vehicle to load adapter.
Which is very cool.
Which is very cool. I don't know where I put the case. So, oh, here it is.
Oh, it's right there.
Yep.
It blended in.
Blended in, it's black and was slipped over. And you also get your tire mobility kit as well.
Do they come with an EVSE?
So mine came with an EVSE, but it wasn't in the car. They went to the back and get it for me. So
okay.
I'm not sure if the newer models are, but I would assume they are because mine did. I've read reports online that some did and some didn't. That may be an actual dealer thing. All right, so we're gonna shut it. Come around here. The one thing I love about Kia too is these nice, cool, kind of recessed.
And how you get the whole light bar all the way across.
At night, this all lights up at night. So it's really cool at night.
Also this is something only I would be interested in. Your reverse light is
down at the bottom.
All the way down there.
Yep. So you have this almost like a mock spoiler up here that kind of give you a little more aerodynamics.
Let's check out the back seat.
Check out the back seat. So I am 6'2", as I've told you in several other videos. So I am in. I drove it over, so plenty of leg room here. These seats do adjust, so you can move these seats up and back if you want to, however you want to sit. But if I'm sitting the whole way back here, I am not, which is better in this car, because my other one I was hitting the top. I am not hitting the top here. I have about 6 inches to where I don't hit my head. So yeah, it's very comfortable. Looks like these are maybe heated and cold seats back here. They are perforated, so.
And you also have the USB-Cs on the side of the seats?
Yes, USB and vents are on the side as well.
Oh, and you have side vents as well. Yep. Oh, super cool.
Yep. So this kind of new texture is new for the GT
here's
lineup.
Your heated seat button.
Oh, it is heated seats back here, so that's cool. You have those buttons there. So you have plenty of room back here. You have a little storage from the front pocket. Nothing down here. So we're going to pop inside now. I'm going to let Sebastian get behind the wheel. Actually, what?
Frunk?
Frunk. So not much of a frunk, but we'll look at it. We call it the Frunkalope. Can you open it with that, or we have to open it from the inside?
You probably have to open it from the inside. I bet it's a pull.
It is a pull. Or it's a button, one of the two. It is a pull. All right. So we call this the Frunkalope. Ta-da!
Big enough you could maybe put an EVSE on
So here's one thing I do love about this vehicle. You see right here, right back here, I'm not gonna pop it off because we don't own it. Right back there's your cabin air filter.
Oh, okay.
So all you do is you just pull this cover off, pull it out, put it back in. It takes like a minute to do.
Cool.
And you also have easy access to your
12 volt right there.
Your 12 volt battery terminals right here. Just pop that cover off and you get to that. And this opens here I believe, to give you access down there, farther down if you need to get things. So, yes, a small blanket, some papers, that's all you're really storing.
A small EVSE?
A small EVSE, yeah, you could probably fit that in there, yep.
Cool.
You can put your tire mobility kit up there if it starts rolling around.
But hey, it actually has something up
there. It has something up there, so yes.
It's not like GM where they just put a big plastic cover or nothing at all, and you can just see all the guts.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, so.
Now, let's go inside.
Yes, this is the exterior. Remember, this is the GT line.
That color looks so good in the sun.
It does. The sun's hitting it nice. We're right here at the old Heifer building here in Little Rock, right in downtown Little Rock. So we're going to hop inside and let Sebastian play around with the tech, and I'm going to give him a quiz on it to see how well he knows it.
Oh, gosh.
We are now inside the 2024 Kia EV6 GT line all-wheel drive. So what are some things you notice? First thing, Sebastian.
So the seats are pretty dang comfortable. Also, they have cooled seats, and they are super strong. They work super well. You also pointed out that it has a heated steering wheel, which yours does not, you said, but you do have heated and cooled seats.
I do.
And so from what I understand, the only way to get the heated steering wheel is to get all-wheel drive. And I believe it's included on every trim level as long as you get all-wheel drive. Also of note, and I believe this applies to 2024, I know it applies to the 22s and 23s, the only way to get a heat pump is to get all-wheel drive. Otherwise, you don't get the heat pump.
Okay.
So that's kind of interesting, a little bit of a weird packaging decision there. But yeah, it's super comfortable. I love this. I wish it kind of had the full ceiling roof, but I mean, this still adds in a pretty decent amount of light, and it is tinted, so it's like not making the car super hot.
And it's got a shade too to cover it, yes.
Yeah. So, ooh, it's got a manual steering wheel. Oh, nice, easy. This we'll talk about in a second. The infotainment system. So you drive one of these every day. You say it's pretty simple.
Well, I drive it.
Pretty well, not every day.
My
but
wife
you,
drives it
you
every day.
got
But I
one.
drive it, yes.
You drive it fairly frequently. You drove it yesterday.
Yes.
Right? So this is kind of the key up home screen, right?
Yes, it is.
You come over here and you get your apps. So you've got your EV menu, your maps, phone projection. Interestingly, no wireless CarPlay and
No wireless
Android
CarPlay.
Auto.
Nope. You got to plug into the left USB. So the one closest to the driver is the one that accesses your Apple CarPlay, wired Apple CarPlay. The other one is just for charging.
So yeah, so that's an interesting thing, and that's a common thing on these Hyundai Kia cars. Like the more basic radios have the wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, but not this one. But we were playing around in here earlier. It does precondition allegedly when you go to a charger.
Yes.
And it should do some route planning, although I don't know. Let's see, this one I don't think has data, so it might not do it very well.
So once again, it's one of those things where you have to be logged in online and have a Kia. Kia has, it's called the Kia Connect app and things like that. So routing to, yeah.
So yeah, it needs data.
So it needs data to do that, and then route navigation. So.
Oh, I say it needs data, but then it's kind of.
Yeah. It will let you know where you need to charge along. Well, it doesn't say where you need to charge, just to let you know that you need to charge somewhere and you pick somewhere.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Let me turn that off because it's going to talk to me the whole time we drive. Cancel. It's pretty snappy.
It is
clicking
snappy.
through it.
Yep.
Let's go into EV menu because that's what's. So you get this kind of funny display. So it's saying if we leave air on, we'll have 104 miles. If we turn it off, we'll get 109.
Yep.
If we suffer, we can get a whopping 5 more miles.
That's right. And it tells you on here how to do your vehicle load setup too as well.
It sure does. I didn't even notice that. Cool. We come in here, settings. This is where you set your charge limits. Cool, but you can set a separate charge limit for DC versus AC.
You can only do certain numbers though. So it says preset levels.
Oh, you can adjust the AC current, but it's by percentages.
Yes.
Also interesting. Battery conditioning, so whether or not you want it to do it, which it says here as well that it will do as the destination consumes, blah, blah, blah. Utility mode. You can use electric devices such as audio and interior lighting with the engine turning off. Gearing, camping. Okay.
There you go.
Cool.
Almost like camp mode, correct.
Smart regen. So that's back here. You give your paddles. We'll talk about that in a second. Whether or not you want it to lock the charger while you charge. And whether or not you want... This vehicle talks to you when you plug it in. It comes up and says, charging started.
Yeah, some voice says
charging interrupted.
Yes, or charging complete. Or charging disconnected.
Whereas my car just beeps.
Yes.
It's a little weird. But I guess you only hear it for 2 seconds when you plug the car in, so whatever. I mean, really, there's not a whole lot going on in here. Do you get, this is going to be a silly question, do you get the Hyundai Sounds of Nature on these?
I think, where would it be under? I can't remember.
Because like on the Hyundais, it's just right there.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's not important at all. You do
Sounds
get
of Nature.
Sounds of Nature. There it
Yes.
is. Okay, cool. So that you can listen to a lively forest.
Yes, you can.
Beautiful.
Or a city at dawn.
I'm assuming that's not copyright, but
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, this is honestly pretty simple. You do get your climate menu. Let's look in here real quick. See, you can set your temperatures, sync. You can do driver only, which is awesome for an EV.
Mm-hmm.
Set up. Oh, you can control the rear warmers from up here too. Isn't that cool? And so this is kind of the point of contention for a lot of people.
So yeah, this is interesting. So explain this up to our.
So you see right now it's showing us climate controls.
Yes.
So if you're driving along and you reach for what you think is the volume button, it's actually the temperature.
Yes.
But if you tap that, it's now your volume button.
Yeah.
So then you go to adjust the temperature and it's wrong. However, there's a trick on these, and you didn't know this.
I did not know this.
I've taught you something new.
Oh,
if you
Danielson.
press and hold, it comes up and you can choose if you want it to return to a certain screen after a certain period of time. So like I'll hit infotainment. So now when I put it to climate, after a couple seconds I'm not messing with it, it should bounce back to.
There we go.
infotainment.
I did not know that. I can now go home and set that up in my wife's car.
So yeah, so that's pretty sweet.
What's going on here in the middle? Yep.
You got a rotating shifter.
Yep. So the push to start is on the.
Oh yeah, you also have it's like a fighter jet. It's like at an angle it's intentional. You got your parking sensors, auto hold. Let's see, we haven't pulled up the cameras yet since we've been in this one.
Yep.
Press the button to display the camera view, or press and hold to activate park assist system. Ooh.
Yep.
So yeah, you get your 360 view, and you can zoom in and out. Isn't that cool? You can't zoom out very far. You can't zoom in very far, but you can do it.
Yep.
And then this is your rear camera. You can switch to top down. You can do each side. Neat. What does this do? Ooh. That's cool.
Yep.
It's the wrong color.
Yep.
It's the little things, right?
It's the little things.
Park distance. Okay, all that's fairly normal camera
Yep.
stuff. But still, I mean, those are pretty good quality.
That is quality.
And one thing you noticed while you were driving earlier on the way here is you can, when you flip the turn signals.
Yes, it comes up with a camera image over there for you to see, camera image over there, so you can see what's beside you. Now that is not available in the Wind model.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that works great in
Rear-wheel
conjunction
drive,
with
yes.
the blind spot monitor.
Yeah, but you also have blind spot monitorings over here. It also beeps at you and everything. So yes.
Yeah. So you also pointed out on the steering wheel. So this will have the HDA2, probably.
Probably yes.
So that gets your lane centering and adaptive cruise, which I do appreciate. Hyundai lets you run both separately.
Yep.
And then you set your distance. This you kind of flip through. You got this kind of basic key up screen. So this is your driver's assistance screen. So when you put cruise control on, it shows your gap, whatever. You come over here. Here's your trips, which Hyundai Kia only gives you one trip meter, which is silly. This is navigation if you have navigation set up, and then just info. So this is all-wheel drive and tire pressure. Not anything else.
Nope. And it says this car was getting 2.8 kilowatts per mile, but this car only has, 55 miles on it?
55 miles on it. Yep.
Heads-up display.
Oh, it does have a heads. Oh, okay. I can
Yes.
see. I see what you're saying. It's
Yes.
not very bright.
No.
I wonder if that's a setting in here. Golly, this is the other thing about this screen is there are so many options.
Yes, there's so many options.
And the menus go so deep.
Heads-up display. Left.
Heads-up
There we
display. Augmented reality mode.
That's what you're on. Well, that's interesting.
Right.
There you go.
Oh, that's way better.
It is? Okay, good. Because I was having trouble seeing it too when I was driving it down here.
Cool. Okay, so we'll see if that makes it any better. Content selection, turn by turn, driving convenience, blind spot safety.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, cool. But it does have it. That's nice. Got some other stuff in here actually. Let's peek. What's under cluster? Illumination cluster theme. Link to drive mode. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Climate, research, climate features, seat position change alert. Weird. Okay. Lights. Door.
So not sure if Kia does the phone key. I don't know. My wife's does not.
Okay.
But you do have, you should have a 1 and 2 over there for
memory.
For memories
Sure
for
do.
1 and 2, yes.
Sure do. Cool.
Yep.
Really not a whole lot to the system. It works. It works pretty decently. I wish we could try out the Android Auto Apple CarPlay because honestly, I'd probably just use that most of the time on this.
You got a glove box, of course.
It's pretty big too.
Yeah, there's a lot. What I like about it too, it's open down here, so it makes it feel like there's more space down here. It's a nice place if you have if your wife has a purse or you got a bag or something, you can put it down here. It's a big open container right there. You also get two 12 volts down here? Oh, you get
12 volt and another USB.
And another USB.
Yep.
So that's cool. So yeah.
Oh yeah. So on the back you have a power outlet as well.
So yes, we have a power outlet down here as well. It's lit up. And then you also have your wireless charging right here. And you also have just standard storage down there. 2 cup holders there. But yep, this has the Meridian sound system in it.
Very cool. And it sounded pretty good when we were coming over here.
Now I will tell you this. The sound system on this, on the GT line, is way better than the sound system on my wife's.
All right, we ready?
We're ready. Let's take it on out. Goodbye, previous Heifer International building. So we are downtown Little Rock. I just see the skylines over there. So yeah, so it defaults to, I think, level, every time you get into the car, it defaults to level 2 or level 3 on the one-pedal drive. You have to actually move it every time to max to get the whole one-pedal driving. And it does come with 3 drive modes, and Sebastian will test those out, which are Sport, Normal, and Eco. And that would actually change the display cluster as well. So actually, I think we're in normal mode right now.
And you see, I just went back and forth and it took me out of max iPedal again.
Yep.
There you go. Because iPedal max is just kind of true.
That's your true one-pedal driving.
One-pedal driving.
So you can try it there.
And it'll actually bring you to a stop and then hold you.
Yep.
Which is, as an EV owner, that is what I want.
Yeah, so you don't want it to creep and then you hit the car in front of you.
Okay. The heads-up display is bright now. It does have a little bit of weird, I don't know if it's because I wear glasses or is it because the windshield's dirty. Let's see. It's kind of got a weird, okay, cleaning the windshield made a huge difference.
There we go.
It was doing kind of like a parallax.
Okay.
Like when you wear, when you're watching a 3D movie without 3D glasses on.
I noticed that too, so yes.
Cleaning the windshield helped a lot. It is immediately showing me speed limit on here.
There you go.
On there, which is awesome. I'm curious, let's see.
There's a Tesla. Hello.
Hello, Tesla.
Tesla.
I'm going to come in here, slow down a little bit, accept, Crane, Kia.
Doesn't even show Sherwood on here.
Doesn't know where it came from.
There it is.
Oh, it's just Cranky.
Yep.
Okay. Because I want to see directions on the,
yeah.
No. Ah.
See, you broke it already.
I already broke it. Cranky.
Route.
No.
Is it working?
Okay.
It's starting guidance. There we go. It takes a minute.
The route guidance will start now. Turn left onto guidance is at this volume.
There we go.
No voice. Okay, yeah, it's saying on the screen in 50 feet I need to turn left.
Gosh.
This doesn't feel like 50 feet.
More like 15.
More like 5.
Yep.
Oh, and it's showing me little arrows like ding, ding,
Yep.
ding.
Now this is interesting because this is all brand new, like roads up here. Literally just opened like a week or 2 ago. So be curious what it wants you to do.
So it wants me to turn left. We'll see. I don't know if we can.
No, I wouldn't turn left if I were you. I think that's the old way to go back when they were doing construction. So you can actually just go up here to the next light and take a right. And it'll pop you on the freeway.
2 of 30. It says left.
Oh, that's right then. No, then it's right then. The map is
Yeah,
updated. So
you
yeah,
listen.
I am wrong.
Gosh, Joel.
I know. I live in the city and don't even know where I'm going. Going around. Oh, here's the loop-de-loop by the...
Loop-de-loop. So it's right. The map knew what it was talking about.
Map knew what it was doing.
Joel did.
I did not. Won't be the first time I'm wrong, and I was wrong, and it won't be the last.
Gentle. Immediately turn right again. It is, the motor sounds are
Yes,
interesting.
sounds like a spaceship. Now, when you put it in sport mode, you're really going to hear the motor sound. Goodbye. Little Rock?
Get to get up on here on this new road.
Yep.
New highway.
Nice, fresh cement. As we leave the city of Little Rock over there, as you can see.
All right.
So you got the one pedal driving on.
So I've got one pedal on.
Yep.
Which, I mean, it felt pretty good in the parking lot there. I don't have a real reason to slow down just now. You don't like the dash line it shows on the navigation.
Yeah, so there's a dash line on this navigation that points to kind of like where you're going. not sure the purpose of that. So, unless we're just going to cut across some areas and fly there, then I can see the purpose of that dash dotted line. But otherwise, I don't know the purpose of that. If you do know the purpose of it, put it in the comments, so then I will know.
So it's cool in the heads-up display. It also shows you your blind spot monitoring. So like, there's a car there, and it like showed a little red.
Gotcha.
Like a little red thing on the left side.
So he moved to sport mode. As you can see now, there's red lights on the cluster gauge.
Although I'm not driving very sporty right now.
Not very sporty.
This car in both my blind spots. So I actually like the way it does that. I just noticed it also gives you a torque gauge at the bottom.
Oh. I don't know.
And I kind of like the way they do this augmented. They show you a display.
Yep. So they actually got that correct, that exit. This is a fairly new exit up here.
So yeah, just really quick initial thought. This drives pretty well.
It does drive nice.
The suspension is a little firm. I don't know if that's because we were in a GT line or, you know, it's on the bigger wheels, stuff like that kind of.
Yeah, I don't notice it being too firm in my wife's car. So.
Okay. And it's on the bigger wheels also.
It is on the
that
bigger
honestly
wheels,
probably has something to do with it. But it's still, I don't think it rides bad. And
Nope.
This is a not great. Like, every one of these bridge transitions is just bad.
Yes.
I don't know why.
They paved the roads, but not the bridges, so the
I don't
transition.
know why RDOT has such a hard time with bridge transitions.
Nope.
But yeah, I mean, we haven't really got a chance to give. I'm liking the heads up. So, full disclaimer, we drove a BMW i5 earlier. And that one, the heads up display was very, very far superior. But this is still pretty decent,
Yes.
the way it's showing the directions and, you know, it might not be doing like augmented, like the BMW augmented reality, but it's still doing a pretty dang good
It
job.
does what it needs to do for a heads up display. You are correct.
Okay. Get out here. It's a pretty short route.
Yeah, you can go up a couple more exits and loop it around if you want.
Yeah.
You can go up to go up to Brockington and take the loop around. That's what you
Okay.
should do. Yep.
See, now Joel knows where he's at.
Now I know where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty quiet in here too.
It is.
I mean, we're on a smooth road and all that, but really it wasn't too bad. I mean, even back there on the kind of concrete portion where it's a little, you know, cars are like right now, it's still quiet enough we can have a conversation. I don't not feel like I'm like yelling over the car.
No.
Which, you know, I drive a Chevy Bolt.
Yep.
That's a fairly normal occurrence for me, is feeling like I'm having to yell over the car.
Do you want to try the driver assist?
Yeah. So, let's see here. Now we're doing lane.
Yep.
Now we're doing cruise. Yanked off iPedal.
Now you should be able to take your hands on the steering wheel, but you will get a flashy notice that. Don't you love how the cars on the gauge cluster are all like
it's actually showing.
or ghost boxes? It looks.
But
like.
it is actually showing cars
yes.
around you, which is a nice, you know,
Yep.
nice little feature to have.
Now, do you feel like this is keeping your middle, or do you feel like it's kind of ping ponging you?
Well, this is a bad time to try to determine.
Yeah,
that.
we're on a big curve right here too. So,
Actually, I hate this curve. I'm going to drive manually for a second.
but you can feel the steering wheel turning all the time. So that driver assist feature is on all the time. You feel the steering wheel constantly moving your hands.
Yep. Which my wife has a 2019 Santa Fe, which it doesn't have. They didn't call it HDA back then,
Yep.
but it does the lane keep, and it's the same thing. You can feel it constantly.
Yeah, my 16-year-old hates that feeling when he's driving.
I love it. My wife.
I like it. I like it too.
Yeah, I like it. My wife hates it. Okay. Get it back on a normal road. I feel like it's kind of pulling. I don't know if that's on purpose or if it's me.
Well, the lady beside you is on her phone too, so not paying attention.
Yeah. You know, typical.
Yep.
Typical Texas driver.
Yep.
Just kidding. That's a everyone issue.
Yes.
Okay. Now that they're not right next to us and we're on a straighter shot, we'll give it.
Yeah, you get your hands off now. Yep. It is blinking up there, I guess, because of the speed.
I had my foot on the gas.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Although I'm going to adjust for 10. There we go. Because I do want to know, because I know it's not supposed to be hands-free, but I want to know if it's torque or capacitive wheel. So I needed to complain so that when I lightly touch it, I know.
My car is quicker to complain. It has not complained yet.
It's like, I don't think this is a hands-free system.
You're
Or
trying?
no, it really is letting me just go.
Yep. No, I don't think it does lane change assist or anything like that. At least mine at home does not. Now look at that. It does show you.
Okay, there we go. Keep hands on steering wheel.
And look, it shows you on your cluster too when there's a car beside you.
It's torque. It is not capacity.
Okay. You got to move it.
Yep. Which is fine.
Yep.
It wasn't like a super aggressive torque. I didn't have to put a lot of pressure or anything. Yeah, it drives pretty well.
I love this interior. There's like this two-tone interior up here, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is a really nice looking interior.
Yeah, it looks like there's some. Is that lights or is that just a line?
I don't know. That's the one thing, we never get a chance to drive these things at night to see.
I know. I think it may just be. No, it looks like it's getting brighter and darker. So yeah, that may be some sort of ambient lighting in here too.
Very cool.
Yep.
There's not a whole lot.
I like the pedals; they're metal. I like how the covers over the brake pedal, the gas, and the accelerator. Got some get up and go.
It's got some get up and go. It ain't bad. And it did do a little bit of. It's telling me to drive carefully.
Yes. Please drive carefully, Sebastian.
It's funny. It's mad that I'm missing my exit, but that's okay.
Yep. We're gonna go up one more and make a loop-de-loop.
Over. No, I mean this is good.
Yep.
For this to be my real first experience in an EGMP car.
You like the software?
It's not bad. I probably
bring the Corvette over.
Yeah. I need to take this exit here. Okay, you're in a Corvette. You can give it some power.
Yes.
It doesn't have to all be noise.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm a person. I would probably use Apple CarPlay.
Yep.
I wish it was wireless though.
Yep.
Especially considering you've got the wireless phone charger and all that. I'd like to be able to just not plug it in, but it is what it is. I don't have a wireless CarPlay. I mean, it's fine.
You survive.
You will survive. It's okay.
All right, so we're gonna make the loop-de-loop around here, head back towards the dealership, and then we'll set up and kind of give you our final thoughts. Hello and welcome from the future. So we were so busy recording 3 different cars when we got our hands on the Kia EV9 GT line, we forgot to do an outro video to kind of give you our overall impressions of it. So now you get it from in studio. So to recap, we got to drive the 2024 Kia EV6 GT line. Wasn't the GT, correct? It was a GT line, right?
It's GT line.
GT line. So it wasn't the cream of the crop. It was just a little bit below that, which is pretty cool. So Sebastian, your thoughts on that? Because that was kind of your first time in a EV6 for a long periods of time. And you rode passenger in mine for a while, but that was kind of your first time behind the wheel, correct?
Yep, correct.
So what do you think of it?
I liked the driving position. It was comfortable. The seats were good. I don't know. I guess we weren't in it long enough for me to know if they'd be good on a road trip, but they felt good in the however long I was in it, right? Mm-hmm. And I've never heard you complain about the seats, so I'm assuming assuming my butt feels right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so seat was comfortable. Driving position was good. It had good tech. I mean, that one we drove had a heads-up display that was actually pretty decent. Now, it wasn't as amazing as the BMW i5 that we drove earlier that day.
No,
but they're not. Two very different classes of vehicle.
Yep.
And the fact that it had a heads-up display at all was still great, especially considering the EV9 we drove afterwards is more expensive and did not have a heads-up display.
It did not.
Which was an interesting little tidbit. I was really surprised when we got in the EV9 and it didn't have a heads-up display. Especially after being in the EV6, right? But yeah, the infotainment system was okay. Mm-hmm. I would just use CarPlay, right? Mm-hmm. But the one we drove said you had to use a cable. Yeah. And my only reason I bring that up is, the car has a wireless charging pad, which was, underneath the center console type deal. And if you have the wireless charging pad and you could use wireless CarPlay, then, you're in a good situation. But you don't really... For me, I don't want to use wireless CarPlay if I can't also be charging my phone because that's just going to drain the battery. And if I'm going to plug my phone in, I might as well just plug it into the radio. Yeah. Wireless CarPlay doesn't make sense in that situation, right?
Did the EV9 have wireless CarPlay? I think it did.
Yes, it did. It did.
Yes.
Yes, that's what broke our video, remember?
That's what broke our video that we got to go back and fix. Yeah.
But yeah, so, I mean, the infotainment was okay. I didn't love it. And not that it would be a big deal because I'm not the type of person who's constantly adjusting my climate controls. I didn't love the whole having to switch back and forth between the panels, right? I like the way Hyundai does it where you get dedicated radio controls and dedicated climate controls instead of having radio and climate controls on the same LCD. Now, I did like, and you didn't know it, but I showed it to you, how you can actually press and hold the button and tell it to, if I tap it and go to climate controls, it automatically reverts back to radio or vice versa. So you can make sure it's always on what you use most frequently, except for when you want to change those settings. That way you don't end up in a situation where you think you're turning the heat up and instead you crank the radio, or you think you're cranking the radio and you burn yourself out of the car. But yeah, I mean, it was comfortable. It had really good room, especially considering, it seems like I've been struggling in every car we've driven recently with headroom for some reason. And I didn't have any trouble with headroom in that one. And I understand that I struggle with headroom because I drive like an old lady. You don't have to remind me, Joel. Listen, it's one of those things. My wife is 5'3". My mom is 5'3". So I've always driven in the 5'3" seating position, and that's just what I'm used to. And honestly, it's comfortable for me. Okay, so back off.
Yes, you would think, so looking at Sebastian, he's like 5'6" or something when he drives, but it's like I look over to it, I'm like, I can see the back of his head. I'm like, what are you doing? Bring it back some, relax. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, really, my only gripe on the interior was, the infotainment system was just okay. I could tell the route planning on it would probably be infuriating to use on a road trip.
Oh, it is.
And that gets into the whole, the EV9 had the ability to let you go in and just on-demand precondition. I don't know if the EV6, which again, I don't know if it needs an update to maybe enable a feature, because I swear I've heard about the cars doing this. But maybe I've just heard wrong. I don't know if it's an update that would allow you to do on-demand preconditioning on the EV6, or if you truly can only precondition in the EV6 if you use the built-in route planner. Because, the big draw for the EV6 is it has that amazing charging curve, right? Of being able to do basically 230 to 200 kilowatts all the way to almost 80% charge, 10 to 80%, 18 minutes. You plug in, you run in, you use the bathroom, you come back out, you leave. Like, you don't have to wait around for the car or whatever, as long as you can get to a charger that can give you the 230 kilowatts.
There's no slow ramp up or anything. It gets there quick and just holds it.
Right. And so that's the great thing. But if you're not in that perfect window of thermal opportunity and you're needing to precondition the car, and the only way to precondition the car is to use the route planner that's not awesome, you're kind of in a situation, right? So that's kind of my only kind of gripe on that. And when we were in the EV9, it seemed like it worked better. And so that gives me hope for especially the new EV6 that's coming out that has the same infotainment system, it looks like, as the EV9. Hopefully it's better, and it should, if it's like the EV9, you can also just on-demand precondition, right? You can just hit that little button, and the EV9 was also nice too, because not only could you just hit a button to turn around preconditioning, it would tell you if you even needed to.
It would say maximum. I think it's just some like ideal levels met, preconditioning. Not
it was like
something like that.
It was like battery suitable or whatever. Which is great. I love to see it. Going back to the EV6 though, just stop talking about interior. It also drove really well. I thought the suspension was smooth. The road noise was pretty decent for the type of car it is, right? It wasn't like dead silent like the EV9 was, but the EV9 is a different type of car. And it wasn't dead silent like the car we drove earlier in the day, but again, completely different type of car. I thought the EV6 drove, or, as far as road noise and everything, was pretty dang solid for it to be a crossover, to be just kind of a standard size crossover. Although, and really the EV6 kind of sits lower and has more of that sporty hatchback look to it. But I mean, on the inside, the dimension wise, you can really tell it's a crossover. So yeah, and I thought it drove well. The one we had was all-wheel drive. It had plenty of power. It didn't feel like a slouch. It didn't feel like it was slow. It just, if you put your foot on the gas, it would give you the power. You get up to speed, no problem. It did drive me insane, the iPedal, and how every single time I would go out of drive and back into drive, I would have to turn it back onto iPedal Max.
Hit that pedal,
That said, after thinking on it some, if I were doing a road trip for efficiency, it is more efficient in those vehicles to not have iPedal on max, because when you have iPedal Max turned on, it forces.
Can't coast.
Yep. Well, not only that, it forces the front motor to be active all the time. Whereas when you have it on the other levels of iPedal, if you're just rolling or you're not really hard accelerating or whatever, it's not using the front motor. The front motor is just spinning. But when you have an iPedal Max, it actually requires it leaves that front motor on the whole time. And so that's where you end up getting worse efficiency, kind of worse range. So, I mean, I would think maybe on a road trip, I would actually want it to not maybe default to iPedal Max. So maybe that's some of the logic they're using for that decision. I don't know. But when we were driving around town, it was driving me insane, because I'd like pull in somewhere, they go to back out and start going forward, and I'd go to
let off the gas for one pedal, then it would just coast. I'm like, what the heck is happening? I know I just had this thing on regen. What is happening?
Yep.
So that was a little frustrating. I think I could get used to it, obviously. But yeah, overall, I mean, I really liked it. The trunk space was good. It has the teeny tiny frunk, which, I mean, hey, it's better than nothing, right? I love that it can do some vehicle to load stuff. And I'm excited to see kind of Hyundai Kia continue to kind of expand the vehicle to load options on the vehicles. Like, I think the Ioniq 9, one of the things they were advertising is all the USB-C ports in the car can deliver 100 watts of power.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it has a lot of them. And it's doing that because it's just pulling DC power straight off of the high voltage back.
Yep.
You know, most of these vehicles currently are doing the USB ports and stuff like that just off the 12-volt battery because that's what cars do. That's what cars have always done. And so it's cool to see them moving into, you know, taking not just vehicle to load for like a household power outlet, but now it's like, hey, we can get way more power out of the USB-C port if we bypass the 12-volt battery. That said, you know, my one worry on the EV6 and that we've kind of continued to see, and I continue to see people talk about online, is it does have the ICCU issues. And
another one just came out.
Yep, and it's like, I don't think they've fully resolved them yet in their vehicles. You know, people like to rag on, or not rag on, but poke fun at the Hyundai Kia cars for having the little dash on the light that tells you that I am currently using the big battery to charge a small battery, but honestly, apparently that's important knowledge to have.
Knowledge to know. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I noticed, because we own an EV6, when I noticed that's how I noticed I was starting to have issues with my 12 volt, because it went from seeing that light on every once in a while to seeing that light on all the time. So if I went out to the garage in the middle of the night to get something, the light was on. My wife got in the morning, the light was on. So it made me think that it's why are we having to constantly pull from the main battery for our 12 volt to keep it charged. So I think they thought they figured it out. Hopefully, you know, the third or fourth time's the charm, but I haven't got my recall yet. But I will tell you this, ever since the last recall and ever since they replaced the 12 volt, I have not had any issues.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you know, it's close to being fixed. But I've always said, going back to this car, if I could take the comfort of the EV6 and merge it with the tech of my Tesla Model Y, it would be like the ultimate car. So I would have the EV6 rides and you've been in both cars, rides a whole lot more nice.
Oh, yeah.
Smoother than the Model Y does. I mean, my Model Y, you hit a 3-inch crack on the road, you're going to feel it. You know, the EV6 doesn't have that issue. It's quiet. The suspension is well tuned. I mean, kind of just feels like it has that little floaty feeling to it. It's awesome. I would take it road tripping if it wasn't for the charging network. And now that we're, you know, Tesla's coming on, maybe in a year, I can think about taking it more on road trips. But, you know, the most I'll take it now is 3 hours away. But echoing the same thing you said is that it rides great. Just not a big fan of that infotainment system. You know, it's just, and it may just be me. I mean, I'm just not, I mean, I don't, because I just drive a Tesla on my daily drive, for my daily. It's just not intuitive. But I'm kind of like you. I don't mess with it that much. So like we listen to satellite radio in the car. So I just get in and satellite radio's on. So I'm not in there pushing buttons and doing stuff like that to figure stuff out. If I do have to take the little 2 or 3 hour drive, I will use the built-in navigation system, which isn't bad because I know if I'm driving like the Fayetteville, it's one stop there and it's one stop back, and I don't have to worry about it. I know where I'm stopping. I know where that level EA station is in Clarksville that I go to, and I don't have to worry about anything like that. So, but you know, taking this on a road trip to, you know, if we go to Dallas next year, I may pop in the EV6 and take it to Dallas. Maybe we can do another race to Dallas with a different car.
Yeah.
So kind of echo the same things you said. Ride's great, styling wise, awesome, plenty of room. They could tweak some things on the infotainment system, but the promise thing is what we've seen with the EV9 is that they've taken some of that stuff and tweaked it, which is good.
Yeah. And I mean, just not to harp on the infotainment system for the whole time, but you know, you mentioned like for you, it bugs you because you drive a Tesla, right?
Yeah.
For me, like I noticed it wasn't great, but I drive a 2019 Chevy Bolt.
Yeah.
The infotainment system on my daily driver is hot garbage.
Yeah.
But it has CarPlay. And so all I ever do when I get in the car is I plug my phone in and then I just use my phone on the screen.
Yep.
I don't use the actual infotainment in my car to do anything more than showing me my phone. And so I have a feeling if I drove an EV6, I would just do the same thing and I would still be happy with it.
Yep.
Right?
Just plug in. Yep. That's a lot of times we do that in the car. We plug in, especially if I'm wanting to listen to Apple Podcasts or something like that. I'll just plug my phone in and it's charging and I got Apple CarPlay and it just looks like my phone up there. So yeah.
Yeah. And that said, you know, you kind of pointed out, so you guys have a different trim level EV6, and you said that the sound system in y'all's is hot garbage. And we
Yeah.
actually were
Yes.
pretty decently impressed with the one in the GT line we drove.
Yeah. We have the first release light wheel drive. I mean, literally, they were advertising it during the Super Bowl in 2022, I believe it was. And we bought it in March of 2022. So we had the ones that rolled off the line first. We had the issues where they had to replace the amp because at the amp issue, they replaced the amp. But then again, I drive a Model Y on a daily, and the sound system in that thing is great. So it's hard to compare. But we noticed the sound system in this one was outstanding. I mean, it was really good. I was very impressed because I thought, oh my gosh, this is like my car. I'm not going to like the sound system. It bumped. It was really good. So
So yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to add. I really liked it. I'm excited to see as they continue to get cheaper on the used market. I think these will be excellent EVs on the used market. I mean, as soon as we can get them reliably under 25 grand, man.
They're close. It's close.
Which, I mean, given current blah, 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 political unrest, whatever, who knows if that's going to matter in 3 months.
Yep.
But currently, if you can get one for under 25 grand, which, I mean, they do exist. They are out there, under 25 grand, 2 years old. It's a no-brainer.
It's a steal.
It would be a steal. And like you say you wouldn't drive one long distance because your other option is a Tesla.
Yeah.
Right? I personally, I'm just now getting access to a Tesla supercharger network. I'd probably risk it.
Yep.
Especially knowing that as long as everything works and you get good power, your charging stops aren't going to be more than 15 minutes or 18 minutes at a time, right?
Yeah, I mean, that charging speed is pretty, like, I've tried that charging speed. They're not kidding. I mean, like I said, like, it may not have been 10%, but maybe like 12 or 15%. I was out of there in 17, 18, 19 minutes when I charged. It's tough to get in and get out somewhere in that time. I mean, by the time you plug into an EA station and wait for a minute and a half for it to ramp up and then go in to the Walmart, because chances are you're at a Walmart, get what you need to do, get out. That 18 minutes is getting close to being up. So it's
and again, and it's one of those cars too. It was, and I think it was the Race to Vegas that Out of Spec did, and they were in the EV9. Ultimately, they were kind of poking fun of them because they kept trying to leave charging stops at like 60% because they're trying to road trip it like a normal EV, right? Yeah. Where you literally charge just enough to get where you're going and then you go. The EGMP cars are cars where you might as well just stay up to 80% because the difference in time between 60% and 80% is like 5 minutes, and you're going to get a decent amount of range. And then when you get there, even if you're getting there at a higher percent state of charge, you're still going to charge at 200 something kilowatt. Like, you're not going to be in this weird curve or whatever. You can pretty much plug into the charger at any percent down low and get the good speed. Like, these cars are charging monsters, and that is honestly the best selling point for them. All the other stuff, yes, they're comfortable, they ride well, they drive well, all that is great. But really, what these cars are excellent showcases for how you can do EV technology and do it in a car that regular people can afford to buy. Yep. The Porsche Taycan is awesome. It charges at 300 something kilowatts. It holds it to like 60%. It's amazing. All that's great. It's also at least $100,000 at its cheapest end. The Lucid Air can do like 330 kilowatt and has 500 miles of range, and it has this awesome battery tech. It's like a 940 volt battery pack. It's like $100 grand. You've got the Silverado, Hummer, Sierra, whatever, that are all $100 grand. Like, they brought this 800 volt stuff with an 800 volt, super good charging curve and decent acceptable range to a vehicle that you can get for 40 grand. Yep. Brand new. That to me is what is truly awesome about the EV6 and the Ioniq 5. And I mean, the EV9 and now the Ioniq 9 are more expensive than that, but it's still the same stuff. Like, they're still way cheaper than the 3-row crossover competitors.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. All right, so we're going to wrap it up there. Once again, we want to give a huge shout out to Crane Kia in Sherwood, Arkansas for letting us borrow the EV6 and the EV9 as well. Stop by there. They have a great view. Live in Central Arkansas. Stop by there. They have a great selection of EV9s, EV6s, and Nero EVs if you like the smaller one. Hopefully here in the next couple of weeks, we actually get a Nero to test out as well. Before you leave today, click on that subscribe button and tap that notification icon so you know when new videos are releasing. And we will see you again on our next podcast. So long, everyone.